Welcome to the audio excerpts of Bhagavad Gita for All with Nalan K. Narula on GettingPositiveKarmaNow.com. Recorded in front of a live audience.
Last time we had completed chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita, which was the chapter entitled Attaining to the Supreme. And then we had done a review where we had a summary examination of chapter 3, we had a summary examination of Canto 3, chapter 32 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapil Dev was giving a similar instruction to his mother Devahuti. So if there are any questions about chapter 8, please ask, otherwise we will continue to chapter 9. Okay, so there don't seem to be any questions. So we will go ahead with chapter 9. This is now the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. This is 9th chapter out of 18. And this is entitled The Most Confidential Royal Knowledge. So this is the secret knowledge, most advanced knowledge, and it has to do with Bhakti Yoga. So chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita for All, the most confidential royal knowledge, being explained to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just before the battle. And Lord Krishna speaks, Shri Bhagwan Uvach, Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yat jnatva mokshyase ashubhat. So idam tu te guhyatmam, this to you, to te, to you. I am explaining, but I am explaining this most confidential knowledge, pravakshyami, speaking, anasuyave, because this is meant for those who are not envious. Anasuya means one who is not envious, who is not conflicted, who is not duplicitous, and not in competition with the divine. So many things are there with this word ansuya. Jnanam vijnana, jnana is acquired knowledge, and vijnana is realized knowledge. Sahitam yat jnatva, with knowledge acquired and knowledge realized, you will get to know, and the result would be mokshyase ashubhat. You will be liberated from this miserable material existence, most inauspicious. So this is a very heavy duty statement. He is explaining to Arjun because Arjun is not envious. The Lord started by saying this is the most confidential knowledge. And the reason that I am explaining this to you is because you are not an envious person. And this is a highly secret knowledge and wisdom by knowing which you will be liberated, moksha, liberated from the miseries of this inauspicious ashubhat material existence. So there are some qualifications that have been mentioned here, and the qualifications are that the person has to be not envious of the divine, not in competition with the divine, and not trying to pull down the importance of the divine by speculative knowledge or any other kind of system, and so on. And what is the end point of this? The point is that you will be liberated just by this knowledge, because the knowledge will inspire you to act accordingly to be liberated. So that is the importance of education and knowledge. It's a very, very important thing. And then in text 2 he goes on to say, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmeyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Raj Vidya, the king of all knowledge, royal. Raj Guhyam, the king of confidential knowledge. So, twice using the word Raj. It is the topmost, nothing beyond this. Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam. Raj Vidya, king of education. Raj Guhyam, king of confidential knowledge. Pavitram, most pure. Idam Uttamam, transcendental, beyond the material modes of nature. So, it is beyond the mode of material goodness. It is in the Shuddha Sattva region, which is transcendental. Okay. Beyond the material modes of nature. Pratyaksha, directly experienced. Avagamam, and understood. Dharmayam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Understanding the principles of your eternal occupational duty. Dharma means your eternal occupational duty. It is sometimes translated as the principle of religion, but dharma cannot be changed unlike religiosity, faith. You may have a faith in a particular religion and join that, and tomorrow you can change it, so it is not eternal. But dharma is that which cannot be changed without changing the very nature of what you are. So your essential nature and the duties arising out of your essential nature and those principles coming from your essential nature, which one becomes very happy, susukham, kartum avyayam, it is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So such duties are everlasting and joyfully performed. They are not relative, they are absolute. Then we come to text number 3 of the 9th chapter. Ashraddhana Purusha Dharmasya Asya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Sansara Vartamani. Ashraddhana Purusha, those who are faithless persons. Dharmasya Asya, about this devotional service path, those who are not faithful, not faithfully following this path. Parantapa, conqueror of enemies, Arjun. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu sansara vartamani. They do not obtain me, aprapya. They do not come to me. But what happens? Nivartante mrityu sansara vartamani. They come back to the material zone of existence and return to birth, death, old age and disease. If one is not able to follow the devotional process, it means there is a certain amount of faithlessness, there is a certain amount of envy, there is an inability to understand, there is also lack of knowledge, both acquired knowledge, that means education or study is not there, and on top of that there is no realization. Because Krishna says this has to be realized, and you can know this only by direct perception, which is pratyaksha. The previous slok he has used the word pratyaksha, direct perception, self-realization, directly touching the truth. That is enlightenment actually. Direct perception of truth, very important. You see things as it is. There is no scholarly argument. You are actually seeing it, realizing it, touching it instantly. It's an instant realization. So that capability is there. In so many other ways in the material world also we experience instant realization of many things. Particularly if they are painful, you happen to touch something very hot and you have instant realization of what hot is. So in a similar way, there is direct perception, and if those who are not having the faith, they are envious and they're not able to follow this process of their eternal occupational duty, their essential nature is not revealed enough, so they cannot follow. So there is a purification process, and that purification process starts with doing your healing, where you have been connected to the Brahminical energies of the KQ force and Reiki, and of course chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which you all know is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this sound vibration manifests the divine spiritual potency instantly. So your mind and intelligence and ego get purified, and you become free of an interfering ego, the envious ego that wants to make one feel superior or a controller. Thus, Krishna is saying that those who are not faithfully following, who are ashraddhana, the faithless on this path, they return to this material world of misery again and again, sansar, constant cycling, recycling in the material zone. They do not come to me, and they do not be liberated from the material zone of existence. Text 4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani nacha aham tesu avastitha. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina. Murti means form. Avyakta means not manifested. So this is a very important statement, that this entire universe is full of my avyakta murtina, my unmanifested form, which is the universal life force energy, for which another word is Reiki. So the entire universe is full of Reiki, full of the universal life force energy, which is not manifested. It does not have a manifested form. It is an energy flow like the sunlight. But we can understand that the sunlight has a source, the sun. Similarly, the source of Reiki is Lord Krishna. And he says that this whole universe is full of this, is pervaded by this, and he goes on to say further, Matsthani sarva bhutani nacha aham tesu avasthita. All living entities, Matsthani sarva bhutani. All the living entities are living in me. How are they living in him? Because they are living in this universal life force energy. He says, but I am not in them. So there is a distinction. This is his personal, transcendental, formless form, so to speak. So it is very important to understand this. This is a Vishnu energy. विश्व के हर अणु के अंदर जो ये शक्ति है, पूरे विश्व में फैली हुई है. In the entire universe this is spread. And that is the Reiki energy to which you all are connected. So it is very important to understand what he's saying here. Very, very deep understanding and absolute statement of his, that the entire universe is full of this energy of mine. All living entities are in me because of their living in this universe, living in this universal energy, and they're living by that energy. I am not in that. I am not in them. So they are my separated living energy particles, but they are sustained by my formless energy. So this is a very critical and key point to understand, that every living entity is living in the energy of Krishna, being sustained by him. So he is the Purusa, the sustainer, and everything else is Stri. In the universe, all dependencies are considered Stri. So the soul is also female in that sense of being dependent on the divine. So very important to understand that. Even though the soul may take an apparently male body, but actually it is dependent on this avyakta energy, avyakta murtina. The fifth text, Nacha matsthani bhutani pashya me yogam aishwaram bhut bhrit nacha bhutastha mama atma bhut bhavana. Nacha matsthani bhutani. Never also matsthani are they situated in me, the bhutani, all creations, all created beings. Pashya me yogam aishwaryam. Just see me. This is my inconceivable, just see this inconceivable yoga aishwaryam, inconceivable mystic power of mine, where I am actually bhuta bhrit, the maintainer and sustainer of all living entities. Nacha bhutastha mama bhuta bhavana. That I am everywhere and I am the maintainer of living entities, and yet myself, who I am, mama atma, me, my soul self, I am the source of all manifestation, bhuta bhavana. So everything in the universe comes from me. That is the statement. Na matsthani bhutani pashya me yogam aishwaram. Just see that how I am never situated in any of these creations, and although these creations are conceived by me, yoga aishwaryam, they are made by me, by my inconceivable mystic power. Bhuta bhrita na cha bhuta stha mama atma bhuta bhavana. So I am maintaining them, but I am not in that cosmic manifestation in terms of dependency, because everything is originating from me. Mama atma bhuta bhavana. I am the source of all manifestation, and this is my yoga aishwaryam, yogam aishwaryam, my inconceivable mystic potency. So everything rests on him. And he said in the previous text number 4 that how his universal life force energy, or Reiki in other words, is what is sustaining the universe. So you can understand that your healing connection to Reiki is that very connection, the universal life force energy connection, and it is directly emanating from Lord Krishna. Text number 6 of the 9th chapter. Yata akasha sthitha nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthaniti updharaya. Yatha akasha sthita. Just like akasha sthita, situated in space, always nityam vayu, the wind, is situated in space, just like that, and it is sarvatra gaha, it is blowing everywhere. Mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani iti upadharaya. Just as this great wind which is resting in space and blowing everywhere, similarly all living entities are situated in me and they are everywhere. Just try and understand that. So while the wind is situated in space, it is available everywhere, throughout the cosmos. Modern science has also confirmed there is a space wind that blows in space. Previously it was considered that it is not possible that any wind will blow because it's a vacuum. But the scientific research has shown that there is such a thing as a space wind. And Krishna says that wind, just as it is situated in space and it manifests throughout the cosmos, similarly all living entities are situated in me. I am the greatest of all spaces, in other words. He has no limit. Just try and understand that. By this we also get an idea of the vastness of Lord Krishna's avyakta murtina, formless energy. And the formless energy cannot be greater than the form or the source. So the source has to be even bigger and greater, larger than this. So we can get some kind of idea from this as to his potencies. We are beginning to now understand, as Lord Krishna is revealing himself in terms that can be understood by us, how to understand the concept or the idea of the greatness of the divine, how to understand the reality of it by giving some references which are within our scope of understanding. Unless we have some reference to compare with or to refer to or to use as a yardstick, it is difficult to understand these things. He has made it very simple by giving us these kind of examples. I think we will pause here at text number 6 of the chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita and just quickly review these shloks, and if there are any questions, we will take those questions. So this is the most confidential, regal and royal knowledge, knowing which one can be released, one can be liberated, moksha, from Ashubhat, this most inauspicious material existence. And why is it inauspicious? It has been established because it is a constant cycling of birth and old age. And Krishna has earlier said, those who want to be liberated from birth and old age come to me and they seek me. And this is the path forward. So if you know this most confidential knowledge, and you can know it how, your only qualification or your major qualification is that you are anasuya, non-envious, not an envious person. So this is a critical understanding, and this is a secret, Raj Guhyam Raj Vidyam, most confidential knowledge. And then he goes on to say that this is the king of all education. So you have education by acquired knowledge and by direct perception or realization, and he is confirming this again. Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha, the most transcendental, directly experienced knowledge, and Avagamam, understood. Dharmayam, what is your essential occupational duty. And you should be very happy. Such a person who understands this is very happily susukham kartum avyayam, ever doing this happily because it is everlasting, it is eternal, and it is very joyfully done. And then he is saying in the third text that Ashraddhana are those who are faithless people, who are not faithful on this path of devotional service, cannot come to me, but they will return to birth and death in the material world. O Arjun, conqueror of enemies. He uses the word Parantap, the conqueror or the killer of enemies. You can do it because you have the understanding and the faith and the right attitude. Others who do not, they can conquer anything else in the material world, they will not come to me. So, fourth text, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. The entire universe is full of my universal life force, energy, Reiki, and all living entities are living off this energy. It is sustaining them. I am sustaining them through this energy. All these beings are in me. I am not in them. Then fifth text, Nacha matstani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram bhuta bhrinna cha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavana. Everything that is created does not rest in me. How is that? It is mystic potency and opulence. I am maintainer of all living entities, and even though I am everywhere, my soul or my soul self, my personal self is the very source of creation. So they are all living off this energy, but they do not rest in my personal self. They are resting in my universal life force energy, which is at a distance because it is the radiant light of the divine, like the sunlight, then there's the sun planet, and then there is the controller of the sun god. So like that, there is some distance, but it is got the same power and potency. And Lord can appear personally anywhere that he likes. He is not restricted by any materialistic condition. So while everything is resting in him, it is not personally resting in him. So it is the impersonal energy, avyakta murtina, the universal life force energy, Reiki. So let's be very clear about that. Clearly talking about this energy. And then he explains it in terminology that we can grasp a little better in the 6th text. Yathaksho sthito nityam, just as the wind is situated in space, and in the same way all manner of living entities rest in me. So I am the space in which this wind is blowing, and the living entities are resting there. Just as the wind rests there but blows everywhere, it's throughout the universe. So that is text number 6. So it is quite difficult to understand this, how such a great creation is resting in him, how such a situation is there, and how it is possible. But this example is helping us to get some idea of his capabilities, his capacities, what he is capable of doing. He has stressed the importance of both the acquired knowledge and the realized knowledge through which one can understand this. So we will stop here today at text number 6 of chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. And if there are any questions, I will take questions.
You've been listening to Bhagavad Gita for All, a lecture series by Nalan K. Narula. Explore our website, gettingpositivekarmanow.com, for more on how to change your karma and destiny.